Hi guys, it's me, Wendy Taylor. I am the dietitian. If you don't know me, what I'm doing is I'm looking to redefine the stereotypical idea of a dietitian and what a dietitian does. I work with women to find food freedom, freedom from diet brain and food crazies, and really help them navigate in their journey to become more intuitive eaters, heal their relationship with food, and really unlearn everything that they've ever learned about dieting. So I'm so glad that you're here. You're joining me. If you're on Facebook or you're on YouTube, just say hey, say hello, tell me where you're from, who you are. I call these coffee chats because I want them to be conversational. Um, Today, we're going to talk about body neutrality. And before I get into that, I want to just say, if you're hopping on later and you're making the replay, definitely hashtag replay because I'll come back and I'll answer any questions that you had for me. So I love helping women, like I said, who feel trapped in their body and trapped by the scale. And what I want to do is help you improve your relationship with food, not only food, but your body, so that you can really become the women that you were created to be. That is my mission. That's why I'm here. So if you're hopping on, I'm so glad that you've spent this time with me. I'm going to take a sip of my coffee. I call these coffee chats and wait for a few of you guys to pop on. It's a beautiful day here. So what I really want us to do is to stop fighting our bodies and start living our lives. That's what we're aiming for here in this group and Ditching Diets Together. Nowadays, it's so hard to be a woman. We're always criticized by our looks. So I want to dig into that today. When you look at society, women are oftentimes judged by their looks, and men typically aren't. With women, sometimes you see this competition, this competitive kind of thing going on. And with men, it's always like buddies, buddy. So what I want to start with is, what is exactly body neutrality? So I said I'm going to come on here and I'm going to talk about body neutrality, but I want to talk a little bit about what that actually is. We're seeing a lot more now in the media and on social media about body positivity. And there's this big body positive movement. But I like to take it to body neutral, and I'll tell you why. I like to talk about it more in terms of body acceptance instead of body positivity. Now, hear me out on this. I'm gonna tell you why. With body positive, the movement started growing, it started coming more and more in my Instagram feed. I started following a lot of body positive accounts, which is great if you're trying to become more positive about your body, right? But soon my feed became tons and tons of just women jiggling their butts in front of the mirror in their panties, or like running around on the beach. And that was all my feed was. And so what I want to say is, it's this projection of this image that you should love your body no matter what. And I want to push back on that today. And you know what? There are days when you're not going to love your body, and that's okay. I started to feel like that was being shoved down my throat. That okay, it wasn't okay to look like this, but you have to completely be okay, and you have to just run out there and let it all hang out and totally love your body. And I wasn't okay with that either, actually, because there are days when I don't love my body. So I think it's normal, and I want to normalize this again. You guys, it's normal to have negative feelings about your body. There's all these projections now that we just run towards body love, and it just happens. And it's not something that just one day you just shut it off like a switch and you just love your body. So it's normal to have negative feelings about your body. I have bad body image days more often probably than you guys think. I coach and I teach women how to heal the relationship with food and their body and how to have better body image. But this didn't come easily. It didn't come naturally to me. And now I know that it's okay. It's okay to have those bad body image days. So how did I get here? I want to chat a little bit about this topic around body grief. We don't talk about this enough or a lot. It's a very, very important step in the process to restoring your relationship with your body. So what body grief is, it's really the first step to healing in this process, in this journey. You have to grieve the body that society tells you you're supposed to have. So whatever idea or thought it is in your head that you're thinking like, this is how I'm supposed to look, or this is how society would accept me if I look this way. You have to go through a process of grieving that and hold space for that so that you can move into a more positive space. So not everybody has good days. No one loves their body every single day. Are there days when I love my body more? Sure. Are there certain things I love about my body and appreciate about my body? Absolutely. That's where I want you guys to get. But some days I wake up and I feel blah about my body. And what I want you guys to know is that is okay. So there's all these messages on social media kind of portraying that you have to jump out of bed. And if you're having a bad body image day, you're supposed to be running around, jumping around in your underwear on your bed, feeling wonderful about yourself. And this is why I love the word acceptance. I love this word because on those bad body image days, you can remember that your body does not define who you are as a person. It doesn't define your worth. Okay, so maybe you wake up and you feel a little bloated or whatever. That doesn't mean that you're not allowed to eat the rest of the day. I've had some specific chats with you guys on this where you're beating yourself up because you stepped on the scale and you're telling yourself that you don't deserve to eat the rest of the day because of what that scale says. So acceptance, it's really accepting that it's okay to wake up and have those feelings. And if you guys have ever woken up and you've ever had those feelings, I don't think there's a one person in this group that hasn't. But hit me a heart emoji. Let me know you're with me on that, because we all have those feelings. And I think it goes back to that living in the gray concept that we're always talking about in this group. You're going to have good days and you're going to have bad body image days. But if you try to live in the extreme black or white, then it's basically perfectionism. And we all struggle with that perfectionism. As women, I think that's something that we all struggle with. So the number one thing you can do and work on is to learn how to be neutral about your body. You need to realize that you're more than your body and that you are enough as a person. So what we're working towards is embodiment, learning how to live in the body that we're in. So I want you to think about our society for a minute. How we run into people that we meet on the street. Maybe you are at the grocery store and you see somebody you know. sadly, how do those interactions usually go as women? And I'm thinking about particularly women in general. When you see somebody or you run out in the street, it's usually the body that one of the first things that we're noticing about others, or they're noticing about us. It's that outer appearance. It's the body. And men in society, it's not usually that way. Men don't roll up on each other out wherever they are at and notice the other man's body. Not typically. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. Men are insecure over other things usually. They are worried about being the provider, or do they make enough money, or those are kind of the things that they are thinking about, not image. And it's so important, I think, to continue to have these conversations, because what we're doing is we're unlearning a lot of things that we learned as children growing up. And still, you guys, at almost 43 years old, I'm still struggling with a lot of these things. I mean, I'm still working towards overcoming perfectionism and body image. And, I think it's normal to have those feelings given the society that we live in. A lot of people, you and I have commented before in the chat, and you've told me that, people say negative things about your body to you, or maybe backhanded things, maybe things that not meant to be negative, but they're negative towards you. And if you've ever had anyone say anything negative about you or your body, I just want to say, think about that person and what is going on in their mind. If they're saying those negative things to you, think 100 times more do we say things about ourselves and we're negative. So when you're hearing nasty things, that's projection, usually. When people are mean to you, that's a reflection of them, not you. And if they can't accept you for who you are, the problem is theirs, not yours. And so a big thing that I help women do is set up boundaries. And growing up, I'll tell you, I cared way too much about what people thought of me, about what I looked like. Now what I hope is that people look at me not for all those things, but for the work that I'm doing, for the love that I have for others, for my love of Jesus. So those kinds of things, but for my skills, not for what I look like on the outside or what I'm wearing or if I've gained weight. A book that I want to talk about today. I have a couple of books, and I have an ongoing list of recommendations. So if you don't have my list of recommended readings, put book in the comments and I can send it to you, because I need to make sure that these 2 books are on that list. Have any of you guys read The Beauty Myth? If you haven't, I think it's really important because it talks about a lot of these things that we've been chatting about today in this coffee chat. So there's a lot of history in both of these books that I'm going to recommend. But The Beauty Myth is basically, it goes back to World War II, when it talks about, when women had to go back to work and they had to help the household. They had to help the household make money. So basically around this time, we started to see more television and more advertising. So what happened in advertising was women were portrayed as accessories. So the beauty myth talks about how, women are shown assisting a man in an office and basically looking like it's kind of this sexy librarian look that women are supposed to have, or it talks about flight attendants and the early days of flight attendants were very, very outward appearance wise. Hey, good. Let me know who you are so I can chat with you. But yeah, the early flight attendant days are like, if you think about it, flight attendants now, you see so much more diversity. But back then, as a flight attendant, you would age out. So they had to be this like young, sexy appearance. And the book talks a lot about that, and how men get older. And it's almost like men get these, furrows in their brows or the gray hair, and they're seen as the intelligent, silver fox, all the things. And women, we get gray hair and we're just a wrinkle and we're just worn out. And it's honestly, it's sad. It's really sad. So the beauty myth is something that I would highly recommend reading, and I'll add that to my recommended reading list. But we need to work really hard, not just for ourselves, but the generations that follow us, that come after us. And it really breaks my heart to see a lot of the kids and what they have to go through now, because they have so much more than what exposure to things than what I had as a child. So we need to let them know it's okay to be unique and it's okay to be different. I can remember being young and all I wanted to do was fit in. So whatever anyone else was wearing, I wanted to wear that. Or, I wanted to look like all the other girls were looking. I didn't want to feel different than the other kids for a lot of different reasons. We want to fit in. We want people to like us and we want to be like everyone else. But, what I want to do in this group and with my programs is to really encourage women to start showing up just like they are and to stop waiting. The sooner we do this, we're going to see a change in the next generation of women. It's going to take time, but it happens. I want to circle back to the word acceptance that I talked about in the beginning. And I think it's important to respect your body at any stage of life, because our bodies are going to change. If any of you guys are watching this and your body's never fluctuated, you're a unicorn. Because I've never met a woman that hasn't fluctuated in her weight at one point or time in her life, right? It happens. It just happens. But yeah, we're so tied to that scale. And I think acceptance is so important when you're working on loving and respecting yourself and your body. And that doesn't mean like there are times when I think, at my life I might have been here. And then, now I'm in my 40s and maybe I'm here. Maybe some of you have, been pregnant and your bodies are here. Maybe you're postmenopausal and your body's here and it's different than it was in your 20s. So what I'm saying is to love and respect yourself no matter where you are in that spectrum. You guys, we're hormonal. We have children. We have periods. This just happens. This all just happens. And I think one of the saddest things that I see is when people change their values because of their outer image. So I'll hear things or I'll see things like, they feel better because they did X, Y, or Z. They're the same person inside. Side by sides really get me. Side by side pictures, outer, they're the same person. They're the same person. And when I see side by sides, I usually comment, if I see them, you are beautiful. You're beautiful either way because you're the same person. You're not better because you did this. It all comes down to acceptance and accepting yourself and accepting others. Accepting change is going to happen in your life and accepting it all. And I guess that's the most important thing that I want to get across today in this coffee chat. Kind of a serious discussion, huh? Not really light and fuzzy, but it's hard and it is a journey. This journey that we're in this together, this life, this group, we're all on a different journey. But I think you accept the challenge that goes with it. And if you do that, then you're one step ahead of most. And I think lastly, I didn't mention the second book, you guys. I was going to blow right past the second book recommendation. And I don't want to do that because we're talking about acceptance. And it has a lot of history in it too. But I encourage you to educate yourself about bodies throughout history. And there was a very interesting book that I read. And it goes all the way back into the 1500s. And you can see the way that bodies were viewed as beautiful throughout the centuries. And that book was extremely eye-opening, and that was by Sabrina Strings, and it was called Fearing the Black Body. So the beauty myth, which is really kind of showing you a lot of those things historically that we talked about since World War II, really, and then Fearing the Black Body goes back to the 1500s. So lastly, I want to invite you into our next small group coaching program and mentorship, Finding Body Freedom. It's 8 weeks. So we start April 5th, and it's really a support group or a support system and a mentorship. I have one for dietitians, and I have one for for health professionals and one for anyone, but they're small. So let me know if you're interested. Type me in the comments and I'll come back and I will get you whatever information or answer any questions that you need. So be sure you do that. So it's a support system. We had a lot of stress this last year put upon us, and you have to allow yourself some space for grace. So with body image, back to what I talked about in the beginning, grieving the body that you might never have is okay. What this means is you're coming to an understanding that the body you have is actually yours. And this is one of the most amazing steps, kind of like in the beginning of finding food freedom, when you realize that you have permission to eat any of the foods you want. Well, in this case, this step, this process it means you have come to an understanding that the body you're living in is yours. It's not waiting to live your life based on a number. It's not messaging me and telling me, I'm making dinner for my family, but I can't eat the same thing with them. And I'm crying over the number that the scale told me this morning when I stepped on it. And I've been crying all day and I haven't allowed myself to eat. So it's not waiting to live your life and enjoy meals with your family. It's not waiting to put on an outfit that makes you feel better about yourself today. It's just living your life, period. And, I always, with these coffee chats, I like to end with a thought reflection question for you. Get your journal out. I want you to think about how you would describe your relationship with your body. Just write that down. You guys don't know how healing just that can be, to get it out and put it on paper and go back and read it and you might be surprised. You might be like, whoa, or you might have emotions. But how would you describe your relationship with your body? Some of you guys have reached out to me. Some of you guys have told me you're interested in a small group. We've chatted a little about it. You guys, I speak with a lot of you guys each week, and I know that you're working, you're out there hard. I know a lot of you are moms, and I know a lot of you have so many amazing talents. I want you to stop and think a minute about how you treat everyone else around you, how you treat your friends, how you treat your family, how you treat your mom, your sister. Ladies, I'm going to leave it with this. I wish some of you guys could see what I see when we talk, when we chat. My prayer for you today is going to be that you start seeing what others see in you, and to know that it's okay not to love your body, and it's okay to just be okay with your body. That's the first step. So this is a long journey. It's a marathon, not a sprint. Maybe that's why I like marathons so much. This is not a 30-day fix. It's not a 30-day challenge that we're doing. So I would love to invite you into our next small group coaching program. If you're interested, put me in the comments below and we will chat about that. I'll follow up with you. I hope you guys have an amazing day. Ooh, my stomach is growling. I'm going to go get some lunch and I will talk with you guys soon. Bye, guys.